coming out to talk to you today about hybrid events, which is just a fancy way of saying in-person events combined with a virtual event. And over the past year, we have all become incredibly familiar with the virtual events between conference calls that we've had to make for work and so many other things. But today we're digging in a little bit in a different direction. Specifically, we're going to be talking about special events and even weddings. So this could be for a nonprofit or corporate event or for your wedding. Basically an event that usually takes a little bit more time and attention and all those little good things that make in-person events feel wonderful. So with that being said, I'd like to just give you a quick intro. One of my favorite things in life is flowers. They just make everything feel beautiful. So today we're going to touch a little bit on flowers and some other things, but I would really love to know from you, how are you doing with your event planning? Are you actually to the point that you've started planning in-person events, or are you still a little bit reluctant? It's been an interesting month since Michigan opened up, and a lot of things have changed from a year and a half ago, and some of them are consistent. But for today, what we're going to be digging into are topics around trends, what's happening in 2021, a lot, including some things with flowers, decor, and also some really important new safety protocols that you should be aware of, whether you are actually planning an event or you're a facility, whether it's a private event or a corporate event, it doesn't matter. There's some changes that have happened, and it's important to stay up to date. Also, I want to talk to you briefly about creating a backup plan, and that includes a virtual event, not any ordinary, boring Zoom call. That's not what we're talking about. Today, we'll just touch on it a little bit, and tomorrow, we're going to dig into some really cool content on things that you can do to bring your virtual event to life and feel like it is something really special. So, say hello to me. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd love to know if you have attended an in-person event yet, since everything has been a little bit crazy. If you have, drop me a little thumbs up or yeah, I did it, and you are one of the pioneers that's going out there, new times, new trends, and new things that are happening. So big kudos to you. But this is the thing. Most people, they're really waiting, aching, craving in-person events. As humans, we're just naturally social people. So the virtual thing is really cool, but there is this strong desire to have events, and a lot of people are doing them really quickly. Specifically in the private event arena, people are rushing. I have been doing events for over 20 years. I've owned my own agency for 16, and I have never seen it quite like this, where individuals that are having personal events are rushing. Michigan opened up, I think it was June 22nd or 24th, and I've spoke to multiple people in the industry in Michigan, and it's the same thing. Everyone is rushing to get their events in before October. And we've seen like 3 times the normal amount of events, especially last minute, where normally for a wedding, you're planning a year or at least 6 months out. And, for my agency, previously, we were always booked 6 months to a year out. And it's a little bit of a phenomenal experience. I'm loving it because I'm getting back into the groove of things again. But I am noticing that there are some definite changes. On the flip side of that, with businesses and nonprofits, there's a little bit more of a reluctancy. They're taking their time, getting back into, should we do in-person events? There's some smaller pop-up events that are happening, but not so much, these big extravagant things, unless it's outdoor events like a golf outing or things where people are sort of separated. From what I'm hearing from some previous clients that I've worked from and just some general prospects that I've been talking to, I think 2022 we'll start to see more businesses and nonprofits doing in-person events, but maybe into 2023 is when we may see some of these large gatherings of 500, 1,000 people. And part of it is, with businesses, there's usually a lot invested into a program or a project that they're pushing out. And I think for the personal events, a lot of it is individuals that are getting married and they have been wanting their families to be with them. And now they finally have the opportunity. So we're seeing a lot of people that are jumping, and they're jumping very quickly. In fact, this weekend, I have the first wedding that I've produced in a very long time, because people they haven't been doing the traditional weddings because of valid reasons. But it was literally like a 2-week window. There's only been one other time that I went through something similar to that, and it was a wedding we planned in 5 days. It was an over-the-top wedding, but because of for religious reasons, the couple had to get married right away. I think that they had an uncle that was getting ready to die, and then in their tradition, you have to wait 1 year, so they rushed to get married. But now we are experiencing this across the board, and there are some things that are getting impacted with events that I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit. But with all that being said, these are the big things. If you're going to push forward and be brave and plan your in-person event right now, you want to make it feel special. People have been isolated. They're craving that human experience. They're craving something beyond a fast food or carry out order. They want to savor the moment. They want to be a part of the experience. And to do that, a couple things that I suggest for you is make it feel special, make it feel safe, and at the same time of all of that, make a backup plan. We saw what happened March a year and a half ago. You don't want to be into one of those boats of trying to figure out what to do. So we're going to talk about some things that you can do to create safety and provision in case there are any changes. So one of the first things I was telling you at the beginning, I love flowers. I do. It's one of my favorite things to be around and to play with and learn about. And they're just such a blessing. And I thought that this quote was just perfect for today. Living is not enough. One must have sunshine, freedom, and a little flower. And it's true. It really is true. Something about having flowers at events bring a sense of life to the overall experience. And one of the things you're going to want to do is make your event feel special. And this is both in person, or even if you are just like on the virtual realm of things, having that great experience. So the big thing is flowers, they bring life to a room. There's something unique that is experienced when you have fresh flowers in a room. The smell, the aura. In fact, today I've got a couple little specials. I'm going to just show you really quick. See if I can reach back here. These, I wish you guys had smell vision. These are garden roses. Absolutely beautiful. It's for the weekend. And there's something that's unique about being around flowers, maybe because they're so precious and they just make us feel good. But there's even been studies to show scientifically how there's different healing properties about being around Mother Nature. And I think that it's one of the key things to making an event spectacular. And it doesn't have to be over the top and crazy. In fact, we're going to talk about that in a little bit when it comes to events and decor, that it's not all about great, big, huge, and over the top right now. Not for 2021. People want to have quality. They want to have a unique experience, and they want to be around life. They want to be living. And if you can remember that while you are preparing for your special event, you'll be able to create something that's unique and memorable and wonderful. So real quick, we're broadcasting to multiple places right now, LinkedIn, Facebook, and onto another page. But if you are not a part of our free Facebook group, I want to encourage you to go check it out. Join. It's free. And on there, we're going to be sharing regularly content about events, decor, planning, things that are vital for getting your groove on for your next event. So go sign up for that real quick. But this is the thing. On top of making everything look beautiful, there's this desire of making it feel safe. I know that safety thing. Sometimes that's not what we want to think about. But there have been so many changes, excuse me, so many changes that are happening in the world around us. It's something that we have to talk about. One of the things that I think is a definite right now, food buffets, they're gone for now. They're bye-bye. Food buffets, not good. Including traditionally how you may have like an appetizer station set up with like guacamole dip or something where everybody's eating off of it, shrimp and cocktail sauce. It's a no-no. I think a lot of people are going to be really afraid and reluctant of that, so that's something to keep in mind. I remember years ago, one of my best friends, Cindy, she's an RN. She actually is down in Florida. But while she was going through nursing school, she had a couple little germophobic moments, to say the least, and it started with the food buffet. It wasn't happening for her no more after she went through one of these classes. And in fact, I think to this day she still won't eat off of a food buffet. So it's something for you to keep in mind. If you're planning on doing a food buffet, I think that a safe alternative, or another alternative, would be doing family style dining, where you have food that is set at each table versus doing a buffet where everybody's going up and grabbing plates and silverware and using the same serving dishes. So have some of those sensitivities, and it'll make your guests feel more comfortable. It'll make you feel more comfortable. And it's a very simple safety thing that you can take into mind. Another thing, capacity of your event. What I'm seeing is a lot of people, instead of doing, these weddings of 300, 400, 500, they're consolidating it down to like 100, 200 max. And I've talked to a lot of people. This is also consistent. So just make sure that as you are planning your event, that maybe you're keeping in mind the capacity for your event, and for a lot of different reasons. Number one, we are consistently hearing of staff shortages, and I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit. This is super important, you guys, super important. Whether you're planning an event or you are a banquet hall, these are some things that you should be aware of. So some staffing limitations could include, like at the venue, having a limitation of servers, bartenders, valets, things like that. So you're going to want to work with your vendors, get an idea and understanding of what pressures are they dealing with, what things are changing in the scope. One thing that we are even doing ourselves is doing some different things to increase different pay. So we have incentive to bring people back to work and get involved. And there are some places that aren't doing that. So you're going to want to make sure, does the facility have enough people, enough staff to serve your vision of something that was, a no-brainer 2 years ago, may have some difficulties and struggles. And kind of tying into this is a side note. It kind of goes back to decor. We're finding this in multiple areas of events, from as small as candles. I was running a promotion for individuals that booked all of their guest tables with us, that they would get free candles with it. Well, there's a shortage of candles, and it's because a lot of the candles, the votive candles, I should have brought one up here, excuse me, but a lot of the votive candles are made in China. So a lot of the wholesalers that have made these orders of, tens of thousands of candles, they haven't received it. They think it's sitting on a boat out in the middle of the sea, but they don't have it. There are a small number of candle manufacturers in the United States. Some of the warehouses have been smart and have aligned themselves with multiple vendors so that they can still provide the product that florists, event planners are seeking. However, there is a shortage, if you can believe this, on glass. And I was aware of this about 8 months ago. I got an email from one of my vendors that's out in California, who I purchase a lot of my, I'll call it high end glass. So really extravagant pieces, not like the basic cylinder vase or square cube vase that you see, but some spectacular ones. And they told us, look, don't build it into your events because it's not coming in. We don't have it. So there is a shortage of glasses. So when I say glasses, I mean vases and vessels, things that they would use to produce an event. This could even be things like little accessories that you use for your table, chargers, all sorts of things that were a common commodity. There is a shortage of in a lot of these different arenas. So you're going to want to make sure before you're getting this big vision of what's what, that either the vendor that you're working with has it, or confirm that their sources where they buy their products from are going to have it available for your events. Going into another direction, well, I'll even tell you, flower food. I think they call it like Floral Light. They're having a problem with getting that out. They have the Floral Light available, but at the manufacturing end, they do not have the packaging available because there's a shortage of labor. And then diving into that a little bit more, this is important for you to know. So before you're planning an event, you have a scope of what's going on and what's available and what obstacles you might run into. This is another one. There is a shortage of drivers. I don't know if you know this or not, but there is a shortage of drivers. I don't care what you hear on the news, I'm telling you. There's a shortage of drivers, and it is having an impact on the flower industry, including delays of when flowers are coming in. From typically, flowers are air packed, they're dried out, and then they're flown from all over the world and then distributed to different people. And so they come in on an airplane, and then they're driven to the wholesaler, and then the wholesaler delivers them to people like me. So you've got two sets of shortage with drivers, from either like coming from the airport and to the airport, or coming from the warehouse to deliver the flowers yourself. So keep that in mind. There is also some difficulties that are happening in some of the areas where flowers are grown, including California and even in South America. So there are some little loopholes that you need to know about, including which flowers are the best to pick to guarantee that you're going to get what you want and what you need. And with all that being said, another thing that I want to bring to your attention is price. It's going up. Going up a little bit, including from labor expenses, and then the cost of different things that we're starting to see on the rise. So keep that in mind as you're planning your event, so that you can stay on task with your budget and your overall vision, and you're not creating something in your mind's eye that's not even doable right now. But there's a lot of options out there. The big thing is have fun with it. And so that you can have fun, I want to encourage you to go make a backup plan. And that may include doing some things like setting up a virtual event that encompasses all of these other components from your event, including entertainment. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about some really cool things that you can do from an entertainment standpoint that will work well in person and also virtually. We're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But I've got a good story for you later that I'm going to share about a really awesome couple that I worked with about 5 years ago. So getting into it really quick, though, creating a virtual backup plan is going to be key for you to have an event that is stress-free, and that no matter what happens, the event is going on. And I think that if corporations and nonprofits and different businesses that are reluctant to schedule their first event, if they take the approach of a hybrid event, both in person and virtually is going to ease some of that worry. But even for weddings, for people that are planning on getting married, you go through all of that timing. You've got, the tuxedos coming, the flowers coming, the cake coming, all these details coming. And then if something happens, what do you do? By having a virtual event, you're going to still be able to maybe carry on with that experience in a different way. And it also it creates something that's unique, something that can be a new keepsake for your wedding, especially when it's done right. And when I say a virtual event for a special event, I'm not talking about doing a boring Zoom call where you stick a camera in somebody's face and that's it. I'm talking about an event production experience. And tomorrow we're going to dig into that. But this is a thing. When you do this, it also opens up a door for guests that aren't able to attend to be a part of that event, whether it's grandma who's in the nursing home and not well enough to travel to your special event, or even, a business colleague that wants to be a part of what you're doing, but they can't attend. They still have access to be a part of it in a unique way. And when it's produced properly, you can create an asset for either your personal life, your keepsake, or for your business to be able to flourish and use that for other things. It's a completely different experience, and not something to just, throw in at the last minute of shove a camera in their face. Do it artistically, do it with beauty and grace. And there's a lot of things that you can do to make it where it's a fun experience. And that, really is something that you should think about overall with your event anytime, is how do you create something that is a really fun experience. So I was mentioning to you earlier, I had a really fun couple that I worked with about 5 years ago, and she was an attorney that lived out in California, and he was a CEO. I won't say the name of the company, but he was a CEO of a Fortune 500 company in Michigan. And they were finally tying the knot. It was a really big deal. And the bride wanted to do something special to include everybody, including the bridal party, as they were preparing for this wedding. And she was all the way out in California. So she didn't get to participate in like the standard way of planning your wedding. But check this out. This was so much fun. Her now husband loved Rick James, loved him. So we helped her coordinate working with a choreographer, and she and all of her bridesmaids worked out this whole dance routine. And this was pre all this insanity we've gone through for the past year. So they worked with this choreographer, and they came up with all these different dance moves for, it was a Rick James song, You and I. Go listen to it. It's kind of fun. And then he ended up doing, it was a different song. That was one of her favorite songs with all of his groomsmen. So when everybody came together in Michigan and they had the wedding, they had a combination of, dancing in real life, and they had this whole routine worked out. And then they did some really fun things with the video clips that they had and made like a spoof out of it. But the experience it was incredible. It wasn't your standard, Ballard dance of, it's the bridal party dance. No, it was an absolute hoot riot. 5 years later, hands down, I still remember it. And I think finding things that are unique to connect with your event, it's going to be up to you. But I beg of you, don't just throw in another standard cookie cutter, lame fill in blank. Think something unique, create something that's special to you, and have a little bit of fun in it. So the big thing is enjoy all of your event planning, have some fun. Look at fresh flowers in a unique way. These are just some daisies out of my garden. And speaking of daisies, this is something else that's absolutely key with trends of what's happening in 2021. We're finding a lot of people are keeping the flower centerpieces a little bit more simple, like down low, get it in, get it out. And they're doing some really extravagant things with drapes, fabric, things to really create that special touch for their special event. And I think that that's going to continue for a little while, especially with the factoring in glass shortages, candles, and people concerned, what if I plan this big thing and I've spent, thousands and thousands of dollars on flowers, and then you can't, carry on with your event. So this is a great way to do it. And I've been enjoying it so much. Let me see if I can pull these over. These are one of my favorite flowers. And it's not so much, it's a beautiful flower. It's a beautiful flower. It's called stock, but it has this real warm licorice, dark, like black licorice kind of smell to it. So it feels cozy. It feels warm. It feels inviting. And that's why when you have fresh flowers at your event, it's a different experience. It brings life to the event. And that's the big thing that I want to drill home with you guys. Bring life to your event. Digital is awesome, but if you are going to do it in person, do some things that are spectacular and wonderful. Avoid the food buffet. And it doesn't even have to be like a lot of flowers. It could be a single bud vase with one stem in it, something that's special to you. So if this is something that interests you more, and you want to continue to get more information about hybrid, virtual, and in-person events, I want to encourage you to come back tomorrow, because tomorrow we will be talking a little bit more on the technical end of virtual events, including some really cool things that you can do with entertainment that's super simple. We'll also be talking about technology. There's some things that you should know if you are going to host a virtual event, including software and internet, and ways to make sure that you don't lose your signal, things that you can do to make it an incredible experience so that even people that attended the event in person later on want to go back and see, well, what was happening online. It's fun. You got to make it fun. And in the meantime, I'd love to know from you, have you attended an in-person event, or have you planned one? If you have, let me know in the comments, and we'll be chatting a little bit more tomorrow. So I thank all of you for tuning in. And real quick, if you haven't checked out our Facebook group, go over there and check it out. It's Event, Flowers, Decor, and Planning. And then you can see that. We had a couple. Let's see, Mommy Guide. Oh, we still can't do live events. Yeah, there's a lot of organizations that still can't do in-person events. And I get it. A lot of it has to do with safety protocols and making sure everybody's safe. And it's a smart way to host an event where people are going to be happy. Let me see. Oops. Trying to squeeze this over. It's a blessing to know that you have started face-to-face events. You know what? I honestly, this is under exaggeration. I feel so much relief. I have missed events. Big time. I've missed it. I've missed seeing people. I've missed being around the flowers. And I'm so incredibly ready to get back into creating something. Yes, Mommy Guide wrote, creating something that's unique. Yes, I'm in for that too. But I think part of it is that human factor of what I was talking about in the very beginning. As humans, we're social people. We like being around people. Well, maybe not all people. There might be a couple of clowns out there. But overall, we really like being around other people. And there's a reason why people gather together and things get done at a different level. There's a different experience that happens when you have humans coming together. And I crave it. I crave it. I absolutely crave it. I'm ready to get back into that, but to keep everybody safe and to be logical. And I think that if you factor in some of the things that we talked about today, you'll be on track for creating an event that has all of those things that we talked about, keeping it special, making it feel safe, making it feel like it's something, unique and wonderful. So, safety first. There's an old saying, was it form follows function? And right now we're in that whole stance of we have to make sure that everything is functioning properly. And for you, any of you that have done an event in the past and you're planning on going back to that same venue, and the person and this and that, I really want to say to you, throw everything that you know in the trash right now. Seriously, I say that to you with love, because these could be people that you've worked with for 15, 20 years, but things have changed. You've got to go back. You've got to go visit the venue. You've got to talk to the people in person. Also understand what the venues are facing right now. What are they experiencing? And just because you want it doesn't mean maybe it's the best thing to do. So if you listen to the professionals, to what they're saying, they'll guide you the right way, because they want to serve you. They want to create an amazing experience. And that's one of the things that I've heard consistently from 5 different banquet halls that I've talked to in just the past week and a half. They're saying the same thing. They're ready. They're excited. And most of them are getting these like back-to-back events, and then it cuts off in October. So we'll see what happens in that fall time frame. I think everyone's kind of doing this two-step dance of seeing, where it's at, where are they going. And, events can be exciting, but a big thing is, oh, I should have turned this light on. You could have seen me. I didn't realize I didn't have it on. Hi, everybody. See, it happens. Mistakes happen. So, all right. In the meantime, you guys, that's all that I have for you today. I hope that you learned something that will help you create an amazing event that makes you want to do a high five afterwards and just enjoy. No more sighs. We're going to turn those skies blue and create some beautiful events. So join me tomorrow, 7:30 p.m., same spot. I'll be broadcasting in the group and on LinkedIn. Yay, all that fun stuff. But in the meantime, you guys take good care of yourself. And we'll see ya. Bye.